and welcome back to Kitchen Witch Wednesdays with the Mead Mashers Guild. I'm your resident mead maiden, Courtney, and today we are going to be making poached pears, but instead of red wine, we're going to be using bonfire mulled wine from Spirit Hills. Stay tuned. Alright, so before we poach the pears, clearly we have to make a poaching liquid. And the poaching liquid is going to be primarily made out of Spirit Hills bonfire mulled wine. Now this stuff is already pretty spiced already, so we're not going to be adding too much extra into the poaching liquid. And we're going to need about 3 cups. So, yeah, looks great, doesn't it? Oh, and it smells amazing. So good. And coincidentally, that might just be the whole bottle. We'll find out very shortly. 2. I wish you could smell this right now. It smells so good. So pretty much an entire bottle except a little bit. The rest for the husband. There you go, honey.
Thank you, love.
So we're going to start that on a medium heat just to get everything warmed up. Now we're going to add 1 large piece of orange peel. I just took a kitchen implement that takes corn off the cob, and I just found it easier to get a large piece of orange peel that way, so in it goes. Now we're going to add some spices here. Just some loose cloves, whole cloves. I'm going to add about 3 or 4. Cloves can overpower a dish really easily. It can make it super bitter if you're not careful. I've had a couple hot rum toddies that have gone the way of the sink. I don't like wasting rum, so we're just gonna not do that. Also, I'm taking whole dried anise, and I'm taking, a couple, like I broke it into a section that had about 3, it looks like a flower, so I'm gonna say petals, or pods, or whatever the hell it is. And we're just gonna go with 1 stick of cinnamon, because it tends to overpower if you add more. Once again, hot rum toddy going the way of the sink because I've overspiced it and been too excited. We're also going to add a 1/2 cup of honey, and we're using again the Homestead Farm honey from Alberta Beach. God, this stuff is solid. Like literally, it is solid. Oh, good job, kitchen assistant. We have a tiny little Viking that likes to come around and mess stuff up. Holy moly, this stuff is hard to get out of the jar. It's a little less than 1/2 cup, but I'm going to be generous here. Also, there's a little bit of sweetness already in the mead, so we don't need to add, I guess, a full 1/2 cup if you don't want to. Depends on your sweet tooth. Get that in there. And to this, we are also adding a 1/2 cup of orange juice. I'm just using regular Sunripe. It's nothing crazy. If you feel so inclined and you want to squeeze fresh oranges, I guess that is your deal. It's definitely not mine. So we're going to let that heat up and dissolve. Give it a little stirring. It's going to take a little bit for that honey to break down and become liquid and meld with everything. But already this is smelling so amazing. Now, while you're waiting for this solution to actually become all lovely and intertwined, I've already taken the liberty of peeling some pears and cutting off the bottom. That way when we set them in the poaching liquid, they're not going to roll around. That's just for me. I don't know if you require that at all. I just am picky. So peel them, if you require, cut off the bottom, set them to the side. Now, the biggest thing with poached pears, you cannot use a Bartlett pear. Do not, I repeat, do not use a Bartlett pear. the moment they're introduced to heat, they will disintegrate and you will have mulled sludge instead of poached pears. So let's just avoid that. Today we're using a couple different types just to see how they poach. We have a red Anjou pear, and what's the other one? Forel? Forel, yeah. So they're a harder flesh, and hopefully they don't disintegrate in the heat. But we will come back when we are ready to get poaching. All right, so I've prepared 5 pears. This recipe you can poach anywhere between 3 to 6. We were gonna have 6, but one of them was a little too soft, so they got sacrificed to the husband. So set them gently into the poaching liquid. Now you're gonna cook this over medium heat for nearly half an hour. So this is a little bit of a process. You're gonna rotate them every 5 to 10 minutes to make sure that, or not even 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, like 5 to 6 minutes. You're gonna rotate them in the liquid so every part of it is cooked even up to the top of it. So we will come back when these are poached. Okay, so these have been poaching for about half an hour. I've been turning them on their side and letting them poach for about 5 to 6 minutes. So in total, about half an hour. And you can see they've turned this lovely pink color. Now normally if you're doing this with a red wine, the color would be much more rich. But because we're using a mead that doesn't necessarily have the color to it, as like red wine does, it's not going to be as an intense color. But they're still beautiful. So we're going to turn the heat down a little bit. And we're going to take these out of the poaching liquid. And I really wish you could smell what my kitchen smells like right now. It is amazing. Aren't they pretty? Look at how pink they are. All right, so now I'm gonna fish out the more solid pieces that we put in there. So the orange peel, the cinnamon stick, and the cloves. I might have to grab a slotted spoon here. Now luckily, through this whole poaching process, this has reduced quite a fair bit, so that's going to take way less time on my part. There's the anise. Let's see if we can get a couple cloves out of there at least. See, this is why it's important to know how many you put in. I'm pretty sure there's one hiding in there, but we'll find it. All right, so to enrich the flavor of this liquid, because what we're going to end up doing is reducing it and using it as a sauce for the pears. So we're going to take a 1/4 cup of Frangelico and add it to our poaching liquid. Now we're only adding a 1/4 cup because we don't want to overpower the mead that's already in there. And the Frangelico is just going to be a super nice accent flavor to this whole thing. Now, I'm also going to add a couple, and by a couple I mean 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. And we're going to stir that. Oh my God, the smell already. Just over medium heat until it reduces to more like a syrup. And we will be right back when that happens. So as you can see, this has reduced quite a bit and it's now become a syrup. The easiest way to test this out, I've turned off the heat, but this is still bubbling like crazy. So the best way to test is take a spoon, dip it in gently, and see how it coats. As you can see, it's coating the back of the spoon quite evenly without drip. So now we're at this stage. I'm going to add vanilla. Now the reason I didn't add it before is because I don't know about anybody else, but I know personally, I find when you add vanilla too soon in a process like this, you lose basically most of the vanilla flavor and it defeats the purpose. So I'm going to take 1 teaspoon of just a vanilla extract, put that in there, and give that a quick stir. And now this syrup is ready to be put over our poached pears. I'm going to get our camera guy to follow me here. Or actually, this might work. Haha. Look at the color on that. Looks absolutely gorgeous. Oh yeah. Thank you, camera helper. So be very careful not to burn yourself, because this is a very thick, sugary syrup, so it can very easily cause second-degree burns, and we don't want that. Burns are bad. All right. And there you have it. Isn't that beautiful? And it's so delicious, and it's also very hot, so I'm going to put that down. Welcome back, everyone. So here's the finished product. It looks absolutely amazing. It smells fantastic. Now, normally we would be tasting this in the kitchen, but these are a little difficult to eat out of a plate with one hand. So we decided we're just going to sit here and do that instead. So I'm going to serve.
Put it close so it doesn't drip all over the table.
Yep. And we're going to get just some syrup over that as well. I wish you could see this syrup. It's thick. It looks amazing. I'm going to serve myself one as well. So that was one of the anjou. Now I cooked this for half an hour and the flesh still feels a little firm. So I don't know if that's normal or not. Either way, this is going to be delicious, so I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, dig in. Get in there, fork. Just take off the side. Are you okay?
Okay.
He's crying a little bit.
It's good. Oh. All the spices are all in the wine or mead, oh my god.
Yeah, and it's a strong taste from the mead because it was our primary liquid for the poaching liquid, right?
Oh my god.
Now, this probably could have used a little bit more time poaching. I'm almost half tempted to try my Instant Pot and see if the pressure cooker could possibly put a little bit more of that poaching liquid into the pears.
Yeah.
But you'd have to make so much poaching liquid.
Mm-hmm.
Because it would have to cover them, right?
Mini meads.
Oh, but it's tempting.
It is. Oh my god.
So in retrospect, you might want to cook this for another 20 minutes. But even so, it's absolutely amazing.
Oh yeah. The flavor's like through all the pear. Like yeah, it's colored most on the outside. It still goes in. It's not like it's like yellowish white. It's the color's totally changed.
Mm-hmm. And that syrup. Oh. With that little bit of frangelico.
Oh, absolutely. You taste like the fruit and a bit of the nuttiness of the frangelico, like the hazelnut and the pear, and it's.
And you still taste the mead.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's so good.
Absolutely. And we're also told that we might have to save some of this for ice cream later.
The husband has decreed it.
Mm-hmm. What? Oh, this is freaking awesome. I don't know if I actually ever had a poached pear, but this is great.
And it's super easy. It's just a little bit time.
Yeah, just the half an hour there, just the turning of it, but
Yeah, and like I said, I'd suggest cooking it for the 20 to 25 minutes with these particular pears, because he had a red anjou, I had the Pharrell, and it seems that they're both still a little more solid than I'd like, and the poach didn't go in as far as I would have liked.
so yeah, maybe just a little more time, but oh no, it's still freaking amazing. But anyway, here we'll leave it this week. We'll leave the Courtney's recipe here in the description below, so you can try this at home as well. And let us know, is there any other fruits you would kind of like to fry up in meat, or have you done it before? If so, leave a comment below. And thank you again, Courtney. Freaking awesome.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thanks.